Smacking, cracking, and watching. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe. The Sun, Season 1, Episode 10. This episode is called Scalp. Look here, I know I did not review the entire season. I found out about how great this show was a little bit too late. So I had to binge watch. And I made it to the finale, and I said, there's no way that I could go without saying something on my chest about this. So is that all right with y'all? Okay, let's get to it. I'm a fan of Pierce Brosnan. I've been a fan of Pierce since I was a kid, when he was 007, when he did other things with his life. Afterward, he's still a hottie McGotty. He's one of few actors that the 30-year-old finds him attractive. A 50-year-old could find him the same way. A 80-year-old will be like, yeah, he was a man 20 years ago. Like, he's that great. Male or female, you gotta respect the guy. Second of all, I fell in love with the show for the simple fact that it's got to do with Texas. The great state of Texas, okay? Central Texas at that. So I said right there, I'm a fan. Automatically. The beginning of this episode starts off strong and it's dark. You can feel the dirt roads behind it all. Niles' saloon. The saloon was burnt down. They're saying that Garcia's man did it. And Niles is just being his usual jerk face self. The sheriff is... I mean, who's the boss? Who's the sheriff at this point? Are you going to listen to Niles tell you off, or are you going to stand tall? You see 3 people right on scene along with Eli. We have... And so a great sign of a true leader is somebody who can make a great speech. You got to have a way with words. Eli's talking about how he's a patient and fair man. All signs of a great leader. Getting the people fired up for what he wants. He said, make no mistakes. It's a war. Insisting war on the weak-minded. For the weak-minded. Jesse. Eli says, do you want war or not? Do you want justice or not? Do you want justice or not? And are you ready to deliver that justice? Let's get... What a great opening. What a great opening. And I hope they get to season 2. They have to. So Pete shows up to the Garcia residence and he's screaming, Maria! 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 And waking up everyone, right? He basically says, Pedro, you're in danger. You need to leave. My thing is, why all this talking and not just leave? Like, half of me is like, y'all just should leave. But the other half is like, you know what? Fight for yours. As far as TV's concerned, just leave. He's like, Pedro's like, why do I need to leave? My dad found oil in your land. He wants it. You got to get out of here, man, for your safety. Pedro said, get all the rifles, get down, and get ready. I'm with Pete, man. Y'all need to leave. Maria says, this is the USA. There's laws here. Pete said, not right now. One of the best finale lines, definitely. We saw a flashback of young Eli, and I thought it was pretty awesome because we're learning more of his Comanche background, and the chief called him his son. And we know he's the son of Texas. And the story is just pretty deep, man. Young Eli, the warrior, finds the love of his life, has actually married another man. I figured at this moment I'll take the time to run down some of the things that I missed. I like Phineas. He went to college in Austin. Everybody loves Austin. I love Austin. Austin has great everything. Everything about Austin is freaking exceptional. It's just a super... If you have never visited anywhere in Texas, I would recommend you go either to San Antonio, somewhere in the Alamo, go see the Alamo, or go to Austin. Things I love about Eli, one simple line about Eli I like. He said, step a foot on my property and I'll blow you away. Technically, he said blow your head off. I like Sally too. You know why I like Sally? Not just because of Pete, it's the fact that she's fighting for Pete, fighting for his attention. She said, I just want you to take responsibility. She just wants him to take responsibility for the family. Sally feels Pete puts the cows before the family. And what's really low down and dirty was when Sally said, our son is going to be like you, and you act like your father. So it's just a lot of the son, the son, the son, the son, the son. Whoa. The pictures of all the dead bodies that were in a previous episode where they were like postcards, you know, that's the messed up point of America, man. People actually used to do that. They would put pictures of lynchings and hangings and they would put them on postcards and send them out. Bad thing that it existed, but it's a good thing that they're putting it out there for others to see. Maybe some folks didn't know that, but they're putting that historical reference in this show. Good job. We seen him go from a country boy to a captive, to him learning the native ways and the language, to him being the son of Texas, to him becoming the chief's son. And we see him now being the leader with his own son. Powerful. And if anything that we learned in this episode is that before we get right back to the review, the current review, if anything, we've learned that you can't stop what's going to happen. It's going to happen no matter what. Whew, this episode is something else. Let's get to the scene of the battle. We have two sides at the Garcia residence. We have one, the Garcias and their people, and two, we have all the townspeople. We see Eli and his squad that have formed a barrier along the perimeter of the Garcia residence. The Garcia folks have folk inside their fortress, upside. I mean, they have them at a higher level so they can hit them coming downward. The townsfolk only have it going straight across. Like I said, it's a straight line barrier of straight rifles, long weapons that they're just going to, they're just planning on just shooting straight on, which tells a lot. I mean, y'all doing good for yourselves and now you're looking down or you're going down. They have their barrier and they are ready for that command of fire. What's interesting is that Neptune has the power. Neptune has the most powerful weapon of all of them. And without him, they probably wouldn't have got with how far they got because of his skill with that weapon. He's got the heavy artillery. So as far as the Garcia family, we have Ignacio, Ana, Maria, Mom, and Pedro, the baby. When the leaders came out to meet, that's when it got real. We got one right here, Pedro. Right here, Eli. Eli's got his weapon. He's got good trigger discipline, good gun safety etiquette. You know, it's not pointing right at him like, all right, I'm advancing towards you. He's like, look, man, we talking. You know, I got to, you know, point it up or you point it down. That's how you're supposed to hold your long weapons if you don't know. Eli is not aggressive at this point. And to add to that, Niles nor Eli pointing any triggers at anybody. The coolest thing and the realest point was when my man Pedro spit that knowledge on them. He said, my family's been here for 2 centuries. Where have your families been? You scoundrels. Y'all, all of y'all intruders. Then all of a sudden here come Pete with his hands up. Don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. And looking at his daddy the whole time. Everybody gonna know the truth. So he spills all the family's beans. Love. Love always is something that makes everything crumble. I mean, Romeo and Juliet type days to now. Do you think if it wasn't for Maria and Pete's situation that any of this would have happened? Drop a comment below. Do you think that because of Eli's demons that are deep within him that this would have happened? Drop a comment below. Do you think that no matter what it was bound to happen just because the Garcia's family was doing so well for themselves? What do you think? Eli's pleading, just stop, Pete, man. Just stop. I can get you some help. Your mind ain't right. And Niles is upset at this point because he lost everything that he had. All he had was a saloon. And now that he doesn't have that, he's saying to all these other people, because he's a hater. And he's like, I don't got my saloon. He took something from me. Oh, it's going to be you next. Oh, it's going to be you next. They're going to mess with your wife. They're going to kill your family. They're going to take your business next. Your house is going to be So these people are impressionable. So they're like, they're right. So they're holding it. But instead of being this, they're this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of being just chill and waiting on your command, your finger is not on the trigger. Your finger is on the trigger at this point. And it happened. Somebody too early and it all went hectic. Eli said softly to Pete, you see how the wind is blowing? Brewing. It's brewing and it's about to be nasty. Do you see this? And Pete don't care at that point. He just doesn't care. The battle is near. Trigger happy finger shot it off early. There it goes. Did y'all notice that Eli did not shoot off one bullet? Not one bullet. To see Pedro and his wife crying, shot on the floor with the concrete being blown away by the long weapons and the rifles. And it's just pieces of the concrete falling on them, the smoke in the room. They know that they're defeated. They can't do anything. That, my friend, that got us. He knew it was a lost battle. He sat at home and he did not leave. He knew it was coming, but he fought for his. Ignacio's dead. Ana's dead. Maria's holding the baby in a closet. Maria grabs the crying baby. She's holding the baby and shots are still being fired every which way from every angle. People out at both sides are having casualties. Madness. Neptune is the real hero. Are there any heroes in this? But I'm saying, are there any real winners? I don't know. You drop a comment below. Tell me if you think there are. And Niles with the way he is self, he says, good man, Neptune. He gave the man props because you know you wouldn't have got it done without him. I'm just saying. Still not one shot from Eli. Still not one shot from Eli, and he's been hit. He's wounded. Phineas is by his side, and he's like, oh, I'm helping you. He's like, well, where is Pete? We don't know. Is Pete hurt? Oh no. We flash back and we get to see young Eli. He ends up killing a man with a couple arrows, and he scalps his enemy because that person was actually going to kill charges the enemy, and sure that Charges' enemy had an honorable death, and before he died, he gave him a pouch for future victories, and we'll see that later in this particular episode. What was bananas was when he was holding the skull meat. He was just holding the skull meat by the hair. Gross, but he's saying, hey, I'm about that life, don't get it twisted. And that's kind of because I was saying to myself while he was hiding behind the tree, I'm like, you're not gonna shoot. Well, that is his son. Is he about that life? Is he bold? Is he strong? Of course he is. Look what he's been strong since he was a young man. Things to think about. The show is so good. But right before he scalped the guy, he said, well, what are you after? And the guy said, your land. Fighting about land years later. There will always be a fight about land. My goodness. Years later, same battle. Pedro died Scarface like. He had 2 revolvers in his hand. Da, 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 da. Fell in his chair. Ugh. Wolverine. What's up? Dude, when Maria came out of that closet holding the baby, and she lifted that baby up, and we saw that blood, and I was like, who shot the baby? Please don't be the baby. Is it you, Maria? Maria, you can live if you shot it was the baby. Then she set the baby gently down, and she set her down in her arms and left. How did she feel? I mean, everybody in her family is dead, and she knows it. PTSD like a mug. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. I feel like, wow, how could she deal with Pete? How could she deal with any McCullough? How can she move on with life knowing that her bloodline is destroyed outside of herself, recreating her own family? Wow. Phineas saw Trigger Finger Happy Lewis outside, and he, approached him, and Lewis is like, throwing up. He's like, Lewis is throwing up, and he's like, oh, that was so much going on. And Phineas says, maybe you just don't have the stomach for this. Blue. Wow. Then another thing that was pretty awesome was that Pete and Maria actually were able to flee to the border where they were headed. The brothers could have duked it out, but they didn't. Phineas said, do you? Fast forward a little bit to Sally and the kids talk about what happened at the battle, and the girl, who I hope in season 2 gets a whole lot of lines because she's something else. She says, he abandoned us. He abandoned us is what you're saying. And Sally ain't no joke. Sally isn't no joke. She knows it's all BS. She's like, tell me the real. What happened? Phineas tells her what really occurred. Hey, he left with Maria headed to the border. And she's like, wow, you know what? This family is messed up. I rewind just a tad bit when she read Eli for filth. Eli's like, I'm gonna have every Pinkerton in the state looking for him. Don't worry. Which is gonna be the season 2 Easter egg, I believe. So season 2, it's gonna be, the chase for finding Pete, the chase for everything that's left over, whoever lived, more in Neptune, a lot more of, seeing and investigating, I feel. But he's so dirty, who knows what's going to happen. He didn't took over these people's land. They were the only bidders there, which was pretty gangster for $563.64. Sally blames Eli for the deterioration of the McCulloughs. Can you blame her? Question, drop a comment below if you feel like she was right for blaming Eli for the deterioration of the family. Is he to blame? Is he the reason why? Is he just a product of his environment? Then we see Eli searching through Pedro's paper with Neptune. They torch the place, but before they torch it, he leaves that victory pouch on the desk. Because that's the major victory, right? It's always about land, right? Then they flash back and we see young Eli once again. The ending of the season was so beautifully shot. We see the adult Eli, who is the son of Texas. And then we see young Eli, who is this Comanche warrior who has, lost his family from these people who have actually been the same group of folks who have taught him how to be a man. Older Eli with his brown leather holster, brown leather boots, and his suit on. The little girl in the white dress, they're standing over the acres and acres and acres in the blue sky, and it's gray and clear, and I mean it just looks endless at this point. It pans out, goes almost like it goes up, as if you're going towards the sky, and we see young Eli and the chief, and they're looking over the grass, green grass, and we see carriages and horses of people just coming in, and he's like, how many of them is it? The chief says, when will they stop coming? And young Eli says, they won't. That's the whole point of the season. Pretty deep, right? What y'all think when they said that last line? They won't. Amazing, right? A lot of shooting this episode, right? It's super exciting. Somebody drop a comment below and tell me if they've been renewed for a season 2. Man, there's some great shows back for season 2, and some great shows that's premiering their first season. Check out my reviews. I got a lot of other shows. I got Queen of the South Fargo, Still Star-Crossed, Happen Leonard, and I got a whole lot of shows. I got a lot of stuff coming, and I got some surprises in between there too. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Antandra Darling. It was at the beginning of this. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. While I ate the piece of pizza and I felt my lip on fire and I started screaming. And my husband's like, I told you it was hot. Till next time, y'all.